Good afternoon from all of us here in Maryland and Bowie in our day 2 of the workshop, of our owners workshop that we're doing. And I hope you can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because we've still got the fans on and I daren't turn them off because it's hot again here today, but not stupid hot like it was at the beginning of the training camp, but it is hot. And if I turn the fans off, they'll all complain because they're all busy working. Look, there they are down there. They're a bit in the distance, but they're all busy working. And today we've done quite a bit. Shall I take you over here? Look, you can see a couple of Lynn's horses. I think you've got one. I think it's Edison's there, and then you've got, yeah, they're all there. Look, at least 2 of them are. Look, can you see? Isn't this beautiful? So these horses are on track here, and the track runs right around the property. It's really amazing. And then this is the arena. Isn't it beautiful? Such a beautiful place to be. And we're so thankful to Lynn, who's one of our HMB pros, and some of the others who helped Lynn collect legs so that we could do not only the training camp, but we could also do this wonderful 3-day workshop. I don't know why I'm playing with that because it's not on. Otherwise, they'd all be hearing me. But it's great to see you all again. Let's have a look. Oh, my God. There's so many of you. Ulrika's here. Hello. Hi, all. Bonnie's here giving us a thumbs up. Hello, my darling. Camilla's here. Good evening. Suzanne Shide's got her pink marigold hand again. Gail says, hey. Good morning. Jenny Ackerstrom says, hey, all. Laura says, hi from Washington State. We've got somebody here from Washington State, I think. Viv Avery says, very good morning to you. Tammy Keller's here. Hello. Gail's here. Hey, good afternoon. Kay is here with our hearts. Ali says, hello. Becky's here. Hi. And, Michelle says, howdy all. Karen Davies says, hi. Okay, so what have we been doing today? So today, at the morning of every workshop, look at me all sweaty, my hair's gone all flat, never mind, who cares? At the beginning of every morning, we call it our morning prayers, but there's nothing religious about it, except for the fact that we all get together and we have a chat about the day before. We talk about things that they've gone home, they'd had a lick and a chew, so they've decided, that they may have written some questions down, and they've come in and they decided they need to ask some questions. So that always takes a good hour, because these workshops are not just about us telling people what they need to do. We are trying to get them to step out of that traditional box, as many of them already have. In fact, they're halfway out. Some of them are all the way out. Some of them are only just creeping out. And we're asking them to open their minds and logically think about what's going on. Logically think about how anatomy and how balance is in fact the cause of pretty much all hoof problems that horses suffer from. Now, that's scary to think, and the reason that we have so much pushback is because what does that mean? It means that the people who are doing the hoof care are essentially causing issues. We were always told that it was diet, it was something mysterious, and that's what's causing these problems. And gradually, over 3 days, these owners begin to see the truth, and they see this because they're hands-on as well, of what's actually happening. And today we came up with a name, and I'll do a post on it. Because they're saying, well, what does laminitis therefore mean, Lindsay? Well, yes, we have inflammation of the laminae because these laminae are being torn and stretched, and there's torsion in the capsule. The hoof capsule's going a different way to the sole, and everything's stretching, and it's a complete nightmare for the horse. All the warning signs have been ignored, shoes have been slapped on, or they've been chasing it and put boots on, and they put composites on and all kinds of things because this horse can't cope. And they can't cope because the person doing the trimming, the person doing the hoof care, has been gradually, insidiously, bit by bit, and it could even be the owner doing this, has been putting this horse's foot out of balance. So when we talk about laminitis and what laminitis means to me, it's different to what laminitis means to the rest of the world. Laminitis, to me, means a big industry wrapped round a belief that is incorrect, that horses that are fed incorrectly, which they shouldn't be, incidentally, don't get me wrong now, they don't need to get sick, that's bad. But horses with P3 rotation and foot problems are being harmed by diet. And I say problems, we're talking about stretch lamini. All the other problems that go with that, seedy toe, white line disease, abscesses, navicular, side bone, ring bone, you name it, tendonitis. We have a ton of stuff going on in there, all caused by hoof imbalance. So when they say to me, what does it mean to me? I always ask them what it means to them. And gradually we work through their questions, their misunderstandings, their beliefs because of what they've come with, what they've seen happening with their own horses. And they begin to realize that, in fact, they've not been critically observing their horses' feet. That over the years that they've had issues with their horses' feet, the heels have been creeping up, the toes have been taken off. You may not even notice that your horse's foot has been dumped if you're having somebody who is used to putting shoes on, who does a flat trim, who's just taken a little bit too much sole. And we talk about this. You take a couple of mil from the toe pillar that should be there, and you don't trim to the hard sole plane, and you leave a couple of mil of heel that shouldn't be there, you have just imbalanced that horse's foot by 4 mil. So it's a problem. So in fact, we've come up with a different word. We're not going to call it laminitis. We're going to call it balanceitis. Because that, my friends, is what these poor horses are suffering from. Balanceitis. Feet, hoof capsules that are insidiously, chronically in and out of true balance. Many of them never find true balance. The majority of them suffer through awful imbalance all their lives. And then we have a horse that gets x-ray, P3's in the wrong position, and they blame it on P3, swinging about in the hoof capsule, the DDFT pulling it, and it's utter, complete nonsense. And you have been sent down this road. You have been sent down this road, and it's hard to get out of that box. It's interesting because this course, this workshop, this 3-day workshop, it costs $650 US dollars. That's £499 for 3 full days with me, Gary, Asher, or in Canada it'll be me and Ash. 3 full days of us teaching you the principles of what we do and why stuff is happening. And we don't just tell you, we give you proof, and you get to see it with your own very eyes. Now, you can go and spend a fortune on lots of other courses, more or less, either way. You can spend less and you can spend more, a lot more in many instances. And what they will just teach you is everything that everybody's been taught before, with their flair, a little bit more of their flair. But ultimately, everything boils down to, in the laminitis box, our belief is that everything other than hoof care and balanceitis caused that horse's demise, suffering, pain, and eventually was put to sleep. Owners will absolutely swear blind that it was nothing to do with their horse's feet. They felt it looked fine. And I ask everybody that comes to these workshops, can you hand on heart tell me how high your horse's heels are right now? They can't, because they don't know. And I'll say to them, can you hand on heart tell me that your horse's foot is in balance? They can't, because they don't know. Until they start playing with cadaver feet and we start fiddling with them and trimming them and imbalancing them, putting them in balance, taking them out of balance, and they start to see, realigning them. Now, I heard somebody say the other day, another detractor of HM, and it goes on, doesn't it? Because we're here and everybody else is over there in Laminitis Incorporated, and we're independent, we don't get sucked into that. And I heard somebody say the other day that what we're doing, what we're telling people is dangerous. Isn't that ironic? I mean, they say it all the time. Isn't that absolutely ironic? That the world, that horses around us are suffering, guys. You only have to look at these cadaver feet. We had one horse that was we're going to cut it in half for tomorrow, and maybe we'll show you some insides of feet tomorrow. But we'll cut it in half. It's got horrible separation. It's got a lamella wedge. That horse suffered until eventually it lost its life because of what other people did because of what people did to that horse's foot. That wasn't some systemic damage. That was a physical thing they did. And owners find that out when they put the tools to the horse's foot and they trim it and they see it for themselves. I kind of wish it wasn't true in a way, because it puts me in a position of all the things that I've found out on my journey to where I am today. It puts me in a position that puts me at odds with the rest of the equine world, because the rest of the equine world simply wants you to believe that it's everything else that's caused it. Owners will willingly, sadly, put themselves in the frame for the damage that was caused to that horse, because the farrier, the trimmer, the vet, the body worker all told them that they shouldn't have fed their horse what they fed it, and then it ended up with laminitis. Now, please understand this. Horses should move. They should be managed correctly. They should be in at least a herd of 2. They should be put out and they should be moving. Tracks are the best way to get horses to move. You can have different surfaces. That helps you trim that horse because they'll do a lot of the trimming themselves. We do not want these animals to be sick, to get colic, to be damaged by incorrect diet. It's so important. It's massively important. And the world seems to hardly care about that. But that doesn't cause P3 to be in the wrong position. That doesn't cause those laminitis to stretch, and there is no proof of it, not one peer-reviewed paper that can prove that without a shadow of a doubt. Would not stand up in court. They could not prove it. Why? Because they don't have the sequential data to show that. Do you know what we have? We're doing something that nobody else in the equine world has done. Because every time I have a detractor that tells me that I'm delusional, and every time they tell me that I'm doing something wrong, it pushes me harder. It makes me find more proof. It makes me find a better way of teaching all this stuff. And I said to these lovely people when they came on this workshop, it's different now. Things are different on these workshops. These workshops used to be where we would take people right from the very first understanding of just looking at a foot, right? No, just putting tools to a foot. No, it's not what's happening anymore. What's happening now is we're seeing people turn up with knowledge, mostly the right knowledge, but mixed in with a lot of other stuff, a lot of other baggage that they bring with them. People have been in the Phoenix group. People have been following us. People have watched the videos. People have got online, and they are starting to see it for themselves. And they turn up and they have more knowledge. It pushes me harder, because just like a teacher back in the day in my science lab, where I had kids coming in who were hungry for knowledge and wanted me to push them harder than some other kids, it makes you better as a teacher. You can't just sit back and just teach the old stuff. You have to come forward and meet these people head on. They are hungry for knowledge, and you need to get there and teach them and find ways of better explaining things to them. Growing this school, which we have over 3 years, we have nearly 90 pros and stroke students, a mixture of, over 16 countries, and we did that in 3 years. This movement, if you want to call it a movement, whatever you want to call it, is growing exponentially. The Phoenix group I just looked at is nearly at 12.9 thousand members, and soon it'll be hitting 13. It's just growing. Please remember, if we were getting this wrong, if we were crippling horses all over the world, and we were screwing up like they want you to believe, I wouldn't be here in Maryland with a bunch of people learning all about what causes balanциtis. Balanциtis, folks. Should we start calling it that? Balanциtis, not laminitis. Balanциtis. What we got going on here? Let's see what you're saying. Oh, crikey. I've got to go back. Just bear with me a minute. Okay. Misha says hello from Germany. Hello, Misha. Monica says hello. Hello. Lindsay Dinsdale says evening. Caroline says hello from Portugal. I got it right, I think, day 116. Jeanette says, hi, everyone. Did I miss much? We'll have to go back and have a look. I don't know. Vanny says hello. Hello, my darling. Ulrika says, just started, Jeanette. Tammy says, hello. Jeanette says, thanks. Shannon says, hello. I finally made it home. Well done. All the way back to Canada. Shannon is one of our HMB Pro students. Becky says, I thought we were calling it TIT, trimmer-induced tilt. Didn't go down very well, that. I thought it was really funny at the time, but somehow it just... I like either. I like TIT, grade 1, 2, and 3. What grade 1, I think, was chopped toes off. Grade 2 was heels off, and grade 3 was both, wasn't it? Trimmer-induced tilt or balanциtis. We're trying to find words to help people get it, understand it, realize what's going on. You can't say to me, my horse went out in the pasture and it foundered overnight. It's anatomically impossible for a start off anyway, but did you know how high the heels were? Did you know what balance that horse's foot was in? What plane was it on? You don't. And you can't hand on heart tell me either. We are giving you more information than any other organisation has ever done in the history of hoof care, openly, widely. Why? Freely as well. Why? Because owners need to know, because this needs to be fixed from the bottom up, because owners have been blindfolded by the people who equally are blindfolded to balance. Now, they'll tell you it isn't. I'm telling you it is. We have an epidemic of poorly horses, and that epidemic, my friends, is because people are not trimming horses in balance. Jeanette says, and worth every penny. Agree, says Ulrika. Susan says, worth it indeed. Thank you very much. Laurie says, hi. Foxy says, almost missed it again. Foxy says, that makes me ill thinking about all those suffering. Misha says, agreed too. Incredible learning. Foxy, tracks are a dream. Toya says, hey, my darling. Karen says, I feel your pain today. It's coming through loud and clear. No, you are not alone. There are many of us in the HM Army and growing by the day. I pray you hang in there. I know it's tough. Thank you so much. One of our students said this week, the wagons are circling. I've been putting this stuff up for years. I'm just finding better ways now of teaching it. Nothing has changed other than I have understood pathology more. As my journey has increased and has gone on in time, I have understood pathology more. I've understood balance more. And I've understood the horrible, horrible mountain of balanциtis that is ahead of us that we have to climb, caused by TIT, trimmer-induced tilt. It's there. But one of our students said the other day to me, because it used to be years ago, I found a post 11 years ago that I put up, and people were scoffing all over it and laughing and joking, and nobody really knew who we were back then. Only a few did, and they were trying to shut us down back then. And now, 11 years later, from that post that I saw the other day, one of our students said, Lindsay, the wagons are circling. They're circling around you, and they're circling around HM, because we are seeing what's going on out there, and we are fixing our horses, the ones that can be fixed, and we are protecting all of this fantastic Phoenix group, Phoenix Way. Meg, and I thank you for that. And it feels like the wagons are circling. Megan says, hello. Heather says, hi, all eventually made alive. Karen says, good for you, Lindsay. Can't wait for New Moon. We can't wait for that workshop soon. Balanциtis captures it, said Radka. Laurie says, hi from Linwood, 2 weeks to go. Can't wait. That's near Toronto. Jenny says, hoofalitis. I love that, Jenny. Hi to you as well. I'm photographing everything for you from now on. Brilliant. Photograph it. We're teaching people here critical measurements as well. Just a few, not to overwhelm them, but enough that they can go back and look at their horse's feet and check. Evening, says Alicia from Cornwall. Evening, my darling. That's one of our student HMB pros. I have 4 on track. Much of it is grass. They move and have ad-lib hay. How much should I worry about the grass? Only one is in hoof rehab. He is doing well now, but I worry about the grass. You don't want him to get fat. You don't want him to get sick. You want him to move, and you don't want him to graze constantly. You want him to put piles of hay around so they move. We don't want to overload them with sugars. It's dangerous. If they're eating too much grass and they're not eating enough hay, then you have to do something about it. But it's a hard road, this. because I don't want people to put their horses out on pasture and let them get fat and sick. I don't want that. But I also want people to understand that we've been using an excuse for so long. It's got so in our psyche, we literally can't see the wood for the trees. And who takes the blame for it? The owner. I find it shocking that the owner has to take the blame for this all the time. They're not the one trimming. Some owners are trimming the feet, but the majority of them aren't. And the farrier and the trimmer and the vet, they walk away scot-free, mainly because they don't know. And I don't think this is done intentionally, don't get me wrong, but you don't really want to find the root of this problem, do you? Because Laminitis Incorporated is too rewarding for humans. It's not rewarding for the owners, and it's not really that rewarding, I suppose, for the individual trimmer, but it is rewarding in the great scheme of things, because vets can charge an awful lot of money for tenotomies. They can charge an awful lot of money for resections and shoes and devices that they devise, and then getting all of these horses in and out of their clinics. Most fail. The ones that succeed are shored up in shoes for the rest of their lives. It's a very, very lucrative industry. And the one animal that suffers is the horse. I liked it better, says Foxy. I remember that post. I need a French word for Suzanne says balancytis is better, does not directly put the blame on in the term. Suzanne says makes it easier for others to accept. I think that too. Balancytis déséquilibrité. How did I do? Jeanette says thumbs up. Tammy says, I was going to stay quiet, but here I go. I've cut myself a few times, hurt my back a few times, trying to do my horse's feet as I recover from a car accident. Sorry to hear that, my lovely. But I can't get the horse's feet where they need to be. I broke down and called 3 farriers and have a farrier coming Tuesday. I'm scared to tears. Please pray for me, guys. Put your photos up, let us see them, and let us tell you what needs to be done. Don't go it alone, and don't let somebody else do it for you. Even if they do, you've got to help. We've got to help you. I'm late again. Hello, everyone from Schleswig-Holstein. Okay. I'll give you one last look at these guys, because they're trimming half a foot. Look at this. Look what Dee's done. Come and look at this, everyone. Look at Dee. Let's go around and have a look at these feet.
This one's a little off.
Look at that foot.
I screwed up on here when I was trying to nip her straight because I tilted. And
Okay.
I did the rocker of the heel a little bit too low.
Tell me about those heels, though, Dee. What's the difference? What's happened to that foot? Tell me about it.
Well, the frog is dead. It's compacted. It's got a really deep sulcus here.
Okay.
It's just...
Bars were all over the place. But let's have a look at the... Can you turn it round so we can see the heels? That way. What's going on with these heels? Can you see that? Oh, can you see?
No.
You can't. But tell me, what's the difference between this heel to there and this heel to there? What's
this is all underrun.
Right.
And I just chopped it all off and made it look somewhat close to where it's supposed to be.
Okay, so you have a completely underrun heel, which you can see there. And what about the surface area?
This leg
between that and that.
The
surface area.
Yeah, he's only got this much area to stand on here. And he's got this much to stand on here.
I think that's better for the horse, don't you?
Me? Yeah.
Well done. Well done. There's Dee. Look. Deanna, rather, there we are. Dee and Deanna. I mean, that couldn't be more confusing, could it?
We need to sit on opposite sides of the room.
You do. Look at this. Look at the difference of where the heels are. This is important to understand. And we've got some stretch going on, look, in this foot here. Well done. That looks like a nice trim. I'll come back and see you. Now let's have a look at Bonnie's. Bonnie's had an infection under the bar. Look at this. Can you see? Look at that infection under the bar there. What do you think, Bonnie?
I think this is a really hard hoof to trim.
It is. a hard hoof to balance. What about this distance from here to here and this distance from here to here? What have we got going on here?
It's a lot shorter than this one.
It's longer because you took the heels back, right, to where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Well done. I'll come and look at that again in a minute. Here's Ash.
Hello.
But she's just going to smile and not say anything. You got to say something.
I don't really know what to say apart from the fact that I've got a really sore throat and I'm losing my voice a little bit.
Children. You've got to hurry up. She's telling me to hurry up. Right. Okay. Right, everybody, would you like to say Hello and goodbye to everybody around the world from the Maryland Workshop, day 2. Wave and say hi. Woo! And now say goodbye. Woo, bye. See you tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye. Bye.